Hey, I'm TJ Jefferson. Welcome to Fantasy Football Live. Week 9 of the NFL season is here, and we want to get you ready by letting you know who you should start. So, Nate, what's your top quarterback start this week?
Well, this week you're going to want to go with Matt Hasselbeck of the Seattle Seahawks. Hasselbeck's been a little bit up and down this year, but he's thrown 9 touchdowns in 4 full games, and he's been especially good at home. This week he welcomes the Detroit Lions, who are 29th against the pass, giving up 265 yards and 2.5 touchdowns per game. That's second most in the NFL, so look for Hasselbeck to light it up. And the thing that I like most about this matchup is that Detroit can't pressure the quarterback, and that's when Hasselbeck has problems. Lions 0 sacks against the Rams last week. That means Hasselbeck's going to have time to find Houshmandzadeh, Burleson, Branch, and Carlson. Should have a big day.
Okay, and you also like Phillip Rivers this week, correct?
Phil Rivers also an excellent start this week. At home, going against the Giants team, giving up over 280 yards and 2.7 touchdowns passing the last 3 weeks. They've been exposed, and Rivers is going to exploit them.
Gotcha. All right, now what about running back? Which running backs do you like for starts this week?
Well, the main start this week at running back is Ryan Grant of the Green Bay Packers. Grant has been Mr. Consistency this year, giving you at least 10 fantasy points every week, except for last week against Minnesota. We'll look for him to bounce back against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay is 30th against the run, allowing 167 yards and a touchdown per game. They're starting a rookie quarterback. That means they're not going to be on the field a whole lot against the Packers. And also, Grant welcomes back Chad Clifton and Mark Tauscher to his offensive line. They're going to open up some holes for him. Look for him to have a nice day running the football in a big Green Bay win.
He's also a guy that I don't know we've ever made a start of the week, but you like him this week.
You know, he's a bye-week Betty, folks, and the bye-week Betties, they've scored 4 straight times at the running back position, and this week it's going to be Julius Jones. I like the matchup. I like that he had 17 touches last week, 88 total yards, and earlier in the year he was very good at home. In 2 home games at the beginning of the year, 272 total yards and 2 touchdowns. Look for him to get back into that kind of a groove against the Lions this week, and that's why he's the bye-week Betty.
Okay, what about wide receiver?
Wide receivers, real quickly, we're going to give you 3. I'm just going to run through them very quickly. Starting off with Dwayne Bowe. Why? He's consistent. He's given you a touchdown or 100 yards in all but one of his games this year. 3rd at the wide receiver position, and he faces Jacksonville, who's allowed 7 touchdowns to opposing number 1s, 2nd most in the league. Steve Breaston, he's filling in for Anquan Boldin this week. It looks like Boldin is out. Breaston, excellent matchup with Chicago, who's struggling against the pass, giving up 1.86 passing touchdowns per game. And Breaston himself has been great when Boldin's out. 20 catches, 290 yards, and 2 touchdowns last year in 3 games without Boldin when there weren't blizzard-like conditions. Very consistent, very solid. I like Breaston. And the final start of the week is Michael Crabtree. He's a rookie, lots of talent. Lots of talent. 11 catches. Last week he had over 80 yards and 6 catches against the Indianapolis Colts, which is no small feat because the Colts are pretty good against the pass. And this week he gets the Titans, the league's worst pass defense, giving up 300 yards and almost 3 touchdowns per game through the air. Sure, they shut down Jacksonville, but that was at home. This is on the road. I think they're going to be able to be exploited through the air with Vernon Davis and Crabtree both having solid games. So I like Crabtree as a wide receiver for you if you have bye week issues as a number 3.
Kind of makes you wonder where Crabtree would be because he had that holdout that now seems as though it was pointless.
That's right, because he'd be right up at the top. This guy's an elite talent, an elite performer, and he's only going to get better.
Gotcha. Now, tight end. Which tight end are you liking?
2 guys, 2 big names who have kind of struggled a little bit. Antonio Gates is the first one. The Giants given up the 8th most points to opposing tight ends this year, and they've given up 5 touchdowns already, 3rd most in the NFL. Look for Gates to open it up. Vincent Jackson's going to command a double team. The middle of the field should be opened up. I already told you Rivers, a good start at quarterback. Well, Gates, I think, a good start at tight end. And then Jason Witten going against Philly. They've allowed over 70 yards and a touchdown to Kevin Boss last week. No teams get allowed more points to opposing tight ends than the Eagles, so look for Witten to light it up.
Let's move on to defense. Which is your top start of the week?
I like Green Bay at Tampa Bay. I also like the New Orleans Saints, who have scored 6 touchdowns as a defense, 1 more than the Clowns have scored on offense. They've only scored 5. I like that team, and I also like Seattle as a sleeper for you at home this week against Detroit.
Well, there you have it, our top starts for week 9. For the fantasy consultant Nathan Zagora, I'm TJ Jefferson. Tune in next week to Fantasy Football Live.